Modern Warfare 2 Beta Weekend #1 complete. Now, this was a strange weekend for me, guys. I played a lot of the Modern Warfare 2 beta over the last few days, and to be quite honest with you, I had a range of emotions regarding how I felt about this game as a whole. And before we dive into the main content about the beta, I want to say that my perspective on Call of Duty has really changed, like drastically changed over the last few months due to how terrible and awful Vanguard was. I had this expectation before Vanguard that COD was always supposed to, I don't know, outperform itself every year, and when something would land flat, I would inevitably think that the game would sink its hooks into me at the next update or the next content drop, whenever that would be. I was just looking to get addicted to the grind again. And to be honest, I'm just not looking for that anymore. I have gotten over it, and my expectations are much more tempered. I just want a solid game with a solid update schedule, with great rewards and seasonal events. I understand that there's going to be dull moments in between the seasonal and mid-season updates, and if the game isn't totally interesting all the time, I'm okay with that. So how does this apply to Modern Warfare 2 as a whole? How does it apply to the beta, and how does it apply to the future of Modern Warfare 2? This is only an answer that time can tell. As I stated in the intro block, I had a lot of emotions when it came to actually playing this game, and at first, I fucking loved it. I was dying a lot, but I was learning everything, and it was genuinely a good time. The graphics, the maps, the guns, everything looked great and modern, and the gameplay felt a little faster than I remember from Modern Warfare 2019. And I can't explain this from like a technical standpoint, but the game it felt more like an old school COD to some degree. Overall, the first day was really exciting, and the beta was released hot off the heels of COD Next, so there was clearly some bias in the air, and it was affecting my decision-making abilities when it came to looking at things fairly and objectively. Then basically, all of Saturday and Sunday, I was just not having fun at all. I was not enjoying the game. I was getting my ass beat by these crazy players who were jump shotting and dolphin diving everywhere. It was an absolute mess. It was madness. This was happening for pretty much 2 straight days, and it was completely miserable. I felt like all of the progress and knowledge that I had gained had gone in the trash, going from like 15 to 25 kills in a game all the way back down to 4 or 5 kills in a game, and it was absolutely embarrassing. But then, Sunday night, I found the sweet spot, and I started getting into the groove of the game again, and that is when I started to understand and kind of learn different play styles. Not to mention, I had learned all of the maps at this point, which allowed me to anticipate players' decision-making based on, repeating patterns and spawns and stuff like that. If you want a simplistic answer as to whether or not I like the game, I can't quite give you that, but I would say that it's more of a yes than a no, and that things are looking up. But there's so much unknown that makes my answer just that much more complicated. Not to sound like a broken record here, but since I didn't play Modern Warfare 2019 very much, I'm not exactly an expert when it comes to comparing these games side by side, but what I have noticed is that these maps are much more traditional, for lack of a better term. I know a lot of people have concerns about campers inside of the modern Infinity Ward titles, and I do think that is a fair statement. However, it's not something that's really affected me. Maybe it's because I didn't play a lot of the first Modern Warfare, or maybe it's because I'm trash and I'm in shit tier lobbies. I don't really know. Either way, if my memory serves me correctly, playing MW19 was complicated due to the fact that there were so many places that the enemy could hide or could just be in general. Rather than main lanes and alleyways and buildings with simple layouts, there seemed to be an element of porousness within these maps that just really made things confusing to learn, as enemies could literally be in what felt like hundreds of different spots. Combine that with all of the updated changes to gunplay, topped off with players like myself who like to run around like an idiot, I just had a really hard time getting the jump on anybody. But Modern Warfare 2 doesn't have that same feeling. Each map has predictable areas. The feeling of enemy whack-a-mole has significantly decreased to a point where I'm now understanding the spawns, the map flow, and where people are likely to be positioned. This past weekend, since I was much more familiar with the terrain, I didn't feel the rage and frustration because I could always ground myself with something that I understood. That allowed me to continue to learn how to play these maps as well as appreciate the gameplay loop that is Modern Warfare 2 Electric Boogaloo. What makes these maps even more exciting is the location and art design that Infinity Ward has decided to latch onto. These maps are beautiful. They kind of remind me of Treyarch maps to some degree. They're thematic and vibrant and overall just fun to play. Farm 18 is by far the best map of the bunch, followed by that market one and then the hotel one. That just came in dead last for me. Unfortunately, the hotel map, it's too big and it can take a while to get into gunfights, or there will be areas of the map that are just completely avoided unless you're playing an objective game mode that covers one of those areas. There is this particular section in the hotel map that has an office, a broken chandelier, and a little bar with some booth seating. I don't find myself going in there very often unless I'm playing domination. Now, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're going to have your own experiences with the maps, so I would love to know what you're thinking in the comment section right below that like button. Modern Warfare 2's gameplay loop is a bit of an interesting nut to crack. On one hand, it feels much better, more like a classic COD arcade shooter, but there's still that tactical, slower pace feel to it. When I initially booted up the game, I felt like I was flying around the map at unprecedented speeds, but after a few games, I wanted to compare the pacing of Modern Warfare 2 to something like Black Ops 4, and I was shocked at how much faster the gameplay is in BO4. I mean, just look at what I'm showing you on screen. It's bananas. Now, don't get it twisted. Modern Warfare 2 isn't a boring, campy multiplayer game, but there are moments where I find myself slowing down to creep up on an enemy, or I'll hear their footsteps from around the corner and I'll stop what I'm doing to get that free kill. There is a lot of starting and stopping in this game, and I think that inherently makes the game feel a little slower than it actually is. There are a few things in the game that are literally slow. For example, swapping weapons, popping your field upgrades, and the sprint to fire time can be a little frustrating when you're trying to remain engaged with enemy combatants. However, I have learned to take care of my business ahead of time before rounding a corner into a fight. Like I was talking about in the map section, there is this level of anticipation inside of Modern Warfare 2 that works with the somewhat slower gameplay. I do tac sprint, but when I know I'm about to encroach into enemy territory, I will start to slow down a bit so that I can have the quickest access to my gun so as not to lose to some other sweat across the way. Do I hate this? Absolutely not. It's just a little different, and when you get used to it and you get on a roll with a kill streak or you dominate a lobby, it's actually really enjoyable. Okay, well, I think we need to discuss the elephant in the room just really quick. Slide canceling. I'll be honest with you, I love slide canceling. I think it's a fun thing to do because, again, this is a video game, not reality, and I don't want my video games to be real, but I don't think this change is that big of a deal, mostly because sliding in Modern Warfare 2019 sucked anyways. I mean, when you compare sliding to something like BO3 or BO4, there's just nothing nearly as good. It's so fun to chain your slides together or to like hop in and out of them at a moment's notice. It just makes the game feel so fluid, like you're just on a never-ending moving spree. And like I said, Modern Warfare 2019, the sliding wasn't great, so there isn't that much of a loss here from the overall movement package. It's more of a preference than anything else. Let's talk about guns. As I stated, there are some issues with them, in my opinion, but for the most part, they're feeling pretty good. They sound great, they feel good to shoot. Most of the weapons are seemingly viable options to carry in a loadout. The M4 is clearly the dominant gun of the bunch, and it is fun to use, but I would like to see some more diversity when it comes to quote-unquote meta weaponry. While we have talked about ADS times and weapon swapping, we haven't talked about reloading. I would say out of all of the mechanics in the game, this one is a genuine issue. In pretty much every single COD game that I can remember, you can begin the reload animation and then stop in the middle of it to slide, to jump, to dolphin dive, and most importantly, to shoot back at an enemy. When I play any mode in COD, I am pretty much always reloading because I would rather have more ammo than not have any whenever I get into that next gunfight or engagement with a zombie or a boss. Besides that, the gunplay itself feels excellent. Assault rifles and SMGs are great. Shotguns and pistols are fun to use. I'm not really a fan of sniping in this game. It's tricky for me. I'm still learning it, but I really hate the LMGs in these Modern Warfare titles. They are just so unfun to use, and they exacerbate all of the issues I have with the game, where at least with the SMGs or the ARs, you have attachments that can significantly reduce the slower movement mechanics. Out of all of the guns that I used, the only one that had balancing issues, in my opinion, was the M16. So let me know if you felt that way too. I know I'm framing this kind of negatively, but it's not my intention. I think they can fix the M16 with one patch. The fact that the gun balancing is this good in the beta is a great sign. But that M16, oh, it was garbo, dude. As far as perks, field upgrades, and score streaks go, I don't feel like there's much worth noting other than the obvious changes. You can quickly toggle on and off between score streaks and kill streaks in the menu, which is a fantastic quality of life feature. Dead silence is a field upgrade, no surprise there. But there are some interesting field upgrades as well, and they're all pretty useful so far, the ones that I've seen at least. And then we have the new perk system. I see a lot of people being upset about this. I'm not really sure why. I actually kind of like it. It changes the way the game feels throughout a match. You are gradually becoming more overpowered over time, and you can do it faster if you are better. It's kind of a reward system if you think about it, and reward systems are good. I would actually like to see something like this in zombies. I think it could be kind of fun, or maybe a mode where you kind of earn perks over time rather than buying them at your own leisure. Anyways, I digress. This whole perk thing, it reminds me of the self-healing debacle during Black Ops 4. Everybody was so mad about self-healing, but then we all got used to it. And then when Modern Warfare 2019 came out, people were mad that you didn't have to self-heal in Modern Warfare. Obviously, you had the syringe, but it wasn't the same exact idea. I think this new perk system will grow on people, especially if we get new perks over the course of the game's lifecycle, and if they keep adding different field upgrades to do various other things, leaving our perk slots open to be able to compensate for whatever we are missing. This initial Modern Warfare 2 package, I'm going to lean towards it being good. Yes, there are some strange things about it, but I really think it's a much better designed version of Modern Warfare 2019, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of the issues I had with Modern Warfare 2019 were based on how the game felt, and a lot of those issues have been nullified or improved in some way, shape, or form. And while I was very excited after COD Next, as well as the first day of the beta, my enthusiasm slowly drifted away over time, even though I was still enjoying everything. But my biggest issue is this. The last few years for COD have been very strange, there's no doubt. And I think it's safe to say that with this year's iteration, it will be a solid package when it comes to gameplay and even maps. But what I'm worried about is what's going to happen with all the post-launch content. We need to see a steady stream of updates that are engaging and, most importantly, fun. Whether it's Warzone events or multiplayer events, I don't really care. But there needs to be amazing maps, modes, events, blueprints, seasonal challenges, whatever. There needs to be a steady stream of hearty content. We need things to do. With Cold War, it seemed like Treyarch had a great game, but it took them nearly 6 months to play catch-up when it came to releasing their post-launch content to make it feel like it was a complete game. The game needs to feel complete at launch and then fill itself up with content to make it an overflowing sensation. If Infinity Ward can somehow figure out how to disperse amazing DLC content and hold our attention for the next 2 years, then I'm willing to give this game a shot. I really am. But we have a long road ahead of us, and like I said at the beginning of the video, this is a question that only time can answer. All right, everybody. Well, we have another beta weekend coming up here pretty soon, and we will have another video discussing how that game feels on PC and compare things to weekend 1. I really want to know what you guys think because I'm just seeing so many strange reactions all over the internet. Some people are apparently having the most fun they've ever had in their life, while others are just pissed off and think it's garbage. I find myself somewhere in the middle and even more on the positive side, but with the worry of the DLC season and the model of it that lies ahead. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video or live stream. Peace out, everybody.